You know, the word that dominated the APEC finance ministers' discussion was infrastructure. And governments have run out of money to be able to fund the infrastructure needs that the community has. Therefore, we need you, and we need your money. And there is a tremendous amount of liquidity in the world at the moment. We recognise that. So what I've done is in my budget, in the government's budget in Australia, we laid down a program to drive infrastructure construction involving private sector investment. And we've used every possible lever we have to make that happen fast.
Because we gather in the B20 and we try to suggest to the G20, and I think most G20 leaders agree on how to or what to do. But why can't we get that step to be taken? I think that is the question we have to ask ourselves.
When we approach the community to say we're not going to have an Australian motor vehicle manufacturing industry, the politics are damn hard. Now, no one in the corporate world was out there saying, isn't that terrific? No one was out there saying it. But the politics are hard, and there is no one there beside us advocating it. Now, I welcome your engagement.
I'm very struck by the commentary and the clarity around how linked now the priorities of business have to be with the priorities of government. That was a point made over and over.
But as we as bankers, and not only bankers, but also perhaps insurance companies and other players in the financial markets, know that this liquidity and this capital, to a large extent, is trapped in the banking system.
If you have a high unemployment rate, if you're not creating jobs, it's hard to have any kind of growth that's sustainable and inclusive. You might have short-term growth, you might have some of the stimulus stuff that occurred after the global financial crisis, but it's not going to be sustainable.
We had a very productive session, and I firstly want to place on record my deep appreciation to the B20 for their engagement with the G20. It is hugely important that the relationship deepen between the G20 leaders and finance ministers and central bank governors and the business community, because ultimately business employs people. And if you have more jobs, which are created by businesses, then you have a more prosperous community.
And I think this morning is a very sad reminder of just how fragile the world is, and the need for all of us to be focused on ensuring that we do whatever we can to provide the stability that the world needs.
The need has never been greater for there to be alignment between businesses' priorities and the priorities of host governments.
So we're starting to change the discussion now and seeing both the public and the private sectors working together to drop compliance costs for small businesses. And it has a massive impact on governments because so much money can be saved. So it's really interesting seeing these cloud businesses now really starting to get to scale. And I think the experience we're having in New Zealand, Australia, the UK and the US is starting to be noticed across other countries as well.